All right, welcome back in. It is a Gold Jacket Thursday, and I'll tell you, there are some stories that just ring more crazy than others to me when it comes to football journeys, and this man is one of them. Turned into a 7-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, a 4th-rounder to the Buffalo Bills back in '85. He's on the Bills Wall of Fame. Now he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's back in Canton, and he was born in Allentown, PA, and as the song goes, it's hard to keep a good man down. He is Andre Reed. Andre, great to have you.
Nice to have you, man. I like that. I got to use that motto sometimes. It's hard to keep a good man down, and it's good to keep a hard man down.
Absolutely. All right. Let's. I'll tell you what, man. Your story is quite terrific, and I think as a 4th-rounder to a Hall of Fame, now that you reflect back on your career, was it everything you hoped it would be? I know there's a big piece missing, but when you dreamt it as a kid, how did it turn out now that you reflect back on it?
You know what? That's funny that you asked that because I get that kind of question in different ways a lot. And I always say when I talk to kids or I'm doing a speaking engagement, I always kind of bring the 15-year-old me into the play and find out, like, what would the 15-year-old me be thinking if I was sitting across from him and all this stuff has happened over the last, 30 years? What would the 15-year-old say? Besides, I can't believe this, but, it's about the people I had around me. That's 99% of it. 1% was what I did, but the people around me that encouraged me, the people around me that patted me on the back, the people around me that, hit me over the head, all the things that you went through as a kid to adulthood, kind of was your story. It was kind of like your foundation. And I had the right people around me at the right time. Obviously the team I played for with, 6 other Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame coach, manager, GM, and the owner, all here in Canton, Ohio. And for me to be here with them, and then with, only 384 guys have been enshrined here. That number might be, a little lower. I might not get the number right, but it's like 380 to be here. Every time I come back here, I feel just like a different person because it's not that I wasn't supposed to be here, but we all have journeys in life. We all take different paths to what we want to be. Sometimes you get derailed and you go a different way. But I think my path was to be here in Canton someday. So that's the beauty of it.
Good stuff. You mentioned your teammates that are with you in the Hall of Fame. I want to ask you about your quarterback and Jim Kelly and the connection you guys had and what made that connection special, or maybe in your opinion, what made Jim such a special quarterback?
We just had belief in each other. Jim was a Pennsylvania guy that, rough and tough from Western Pennsylvania. He played linebacker actually in high school and was going to go to Penn State as a linebacker and change the quarterback. So I'm sure he talks about that in his journey too. About I was going to be a linebacker, not a quarterback. So we just had belief in each other, and we worked at it. If we wanted to be good, we had to do the extra stuff, just like anybody in life. You got to do extra to be good. And you got to go with what's good, what's bad, make changes, do all the things you have to do, to be successful. So I really relied on him, not only for his smarts. He was a great general. He was a good leader. He was a great leader. We don't go to 4 Super Bowls without Jim Kelly back there. And did he have all the intangibles that these quarterbacks have today? He didn't. He wasn't a good runner. He just had a good football mind. And really got the best out of his teammates.
We are visiting with the privilege of visiting with Andre Reed, the great former Buffalo Bill, played for them from '85 to 2000. As I mentioned, 7-time Pro Bowler and Bills franchise leader in literally everything: catches, yards, receiving touchdowns. In fact, was it Marv Lewis that nicknamed you Yak? Was he the one that gets credit for that? Yeah, Marv Levy.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. It was Marv. And that's ironic you talk about Marv. Not only was he a great coach, he was even better. He's a better person. We respected him. If you don't have respect for anything, it's not going to get done. We all loved him as a coach. We loved him as a person. We were just in Chicago about a month ago visiting him. He's going to be 100 next year, right around enshrinement next year. So we're hoping he's here to, celebrate his 100th birthday here in Canton this coming August.
I know that he obviously means so much to you and that team that got so close. What do you remember about those Super Bowl runs that you still look back on and say that wish we could have got it for him? Was there any pep talk, any message? How did he deal with taking you guys back and trying to make you believe this would be the year?
Well, I think, Marv had a certain persona that really reflected on how we played and how we did things too. Marv went to College and William and Mary and coached here. He just was a scholar of the game. And he wasn't the flamboyant coach like some of the coaches are. And we just respected him every time, we suited up for him. And he, respected us. And I think that really was kind of like the bottom line with our relationship with Marv as a coach. He just said, hey, you know what? There's always next year. You always say that. And we went back 4 times, which will never be done again. So, yes, I wish I had a Super Bowl ring, but it wasn't meant to be. We wish we'd have had a lot of things in life, but it's not meant to be. And you got to move on. We play the game because we want to win a championship. You play the game to go to the Super Bowl and win. That's what the game, the bottom line of pro football is. And I wouldn't want to do that with any other coach like Marv or any other teammates I had over those years.
I want to go back to your nickname of Yak and want to ask you and zoom out from that and get your thoughts on like the most important traits a receiver needs to have. Is it yards after the catch? Is it route running? From a Hall of Famer's perspective, if you were educating a young wide receiver on the things he needs to stack up to become elite, what would you tell him?
Well, it's you got to work hard at everything. Yards after the catch is a stat now. Back when I came in the league, there was no such thing as targets and all the stuff that they throw into a computer and it reads out something for you. It was just catch the ball and make yards after the catch. And I did the dirty work, inside the hashes. So I knew my role, and that role got me to a yellow jacket, a bust, and a gold ring here in Canton. So I was fortunate to be with those guys and that team.
No doubt. And you were fearless. You just mentioned you did the dirty work. Fearless going over the middle in an era where maybe it was even more dangerous than it is now. That courage,
definitely.
That courage that it took to not say ignore linebackers and DBs waiting to take your head off, but in territories like that was so key and those yards were so key. Did you always have that courage, or was it kind of developed over time with your own confidence?
I think it was a combination of both, because my dad was a construction worker. So I used to watch him, before I went to school. He's up at 6 to be on the job at 9, or to be on the job at 7:30 in 90-degree heat, pouring forms and concrete and doing all that stuff just to put food on the table. So that's the grit, where I got that grit and that toughness from, that, we got to get it done. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. If you're not willing to do it, you don't even know if it'll get done. So I got that work ethic from my dad.
Want to hit you up about the Bills currently under Josh Allen. This is a team that's been knocking on the door. We all know that the gatekeepers right now, especially in the AFC, are Pat Mahomes. But when you look at this window of time and where the Bills are with Josh Allen leading the charge, do you think now that they have the goods to get over the hump?
Well, I always think that with the Bills. Yeah, every year. I mean, when the team drafted Josh in 2017 or 18, we needed a quarterback. Jim was the last guy, and we hadn't had a quarterback before Josh in years. This is a quarterback-driven league. You got to have that guy, Pat Mahomes, Herbert, all these guys. Burrow. You got to have the guys making the calls under center to have a chance to win in this league. And we found the right guy with Josh, and obviously. We lost some guys last year, but Josh is the key to everything. We'll just have to see how it goes. I think Sean McDermott has done a great job with this team over the last, 5-6 years. We're knocking on the door. And hopefully the door is going to be wide open this year that we'll be able to walk in this year. But, every game's tough. It's not no gimmies. They got a tough one coming up going to Indianapolis. It's a game they should win, but it's the NFL. You never know. If you don't prepare right, any team can beat you. So I'm sure, Sean really tells them that.
All right, before we let you go, and you're going to be able to greet fans at the Hall, it's going to be amazing for all football fans to be able to talk with Andre Reed and get his memories of his career and the NFL in general. But I do want to take you back to perhaps the greatest game I've ever seen in '92 when you guys were down, I think, was it 35-3, I believe?
Yeah.
All right, you're down 35-3, and this isn't some throwaway game. This is an AFC wildcard game. You played about the biggest game I've ever seen, and you guys come back, 32-point comeback win, and then you guys launch on to that Super Bowl against Dallas. But give me a taste of what that was like being in that game, the never give up attitude, and when you believed you could actually win the game.
Well, that's just really, if you put Buffalo into a computer, it comes out, resiliency, always being put down, the city's not this, just a bad rap, but the football team is the heartbeat of that city. And, that particular game, the week before, we got beat by the Oilers the week before that game, 28-3. So we had them at home. We figured our home crowd was going to be a factor in the game. And, by the end of three quarters, we were down 35-3. So it wasn't feeling too good. In the locker room, you can hear a pin drop there in the locker room. There was not that much to say. We had to go out and get something going, and then we got the crowd into it, and before you know it, the game was over, 41-38. So that's just the drive of the guys that we had all those years. We never gave up, and the city is kind of like that, a never-give-up city. I was glad to be a part of that. Those guys were not only just my teammates, but they're my friends for life. And obviously, Jim and Thurman and Bruce and Darryl and all the guys that I play with, we're all friends today. We're like a family, and I cherish that.
What a journey! You are number 285, by the way, into Canton. It rings great. And I'll end it the way I started it. Living here in Allentown, but it's hard to keep a good man down. I love your story. You should
I like that.
You should reflect on it well and enjoy your time in Canton visiting with the great fans of the sport. And you're back in football heaven. Enjoy it, Andre. Thanks for the visit.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.